Hello, you guys. I thought I'd run out here real quick. The sun was shining and everything to introduce this video, and these fat raindrops are coming down, but I will not be defeated by the rain. But I wanted to go ahead and record a video for you guys about my plants. I know this is unusual for me on my channel, but I've gotten so many requests on Instagram for me to share about my plants because they always show up in the background whenever I take pictures. And the other day I got a request on YouTube for the same thing. So I said, let me just go ahead and make this video. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. My name is Natasha. Please make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube don't be sending nobody no notifications without ringing that bell. So make sure you take a moment to do that. I usually try to record videos every Tuesday and Saturday, and I've been doing that pretty consistently for a while now. So I'm just gonna voice over the rest of this video because it's a regular school day for us, and so I just want to be able to move through my house without disturbing anyone and let you guys know what it is that I'm doing. Believe it or not, I used to have a really black thumb, but there's a few things that I've learned that's really helped me out. So come on. You guys, so let's do this. So I think this is probably one of my favorite plants. This is a rubber tree and it's gotten really, really big. It was really small when I bought it, but it's actually in my dining room next to one of the windows. I was told that one of the tricks for this plant is to find a spot that it really likes and then don't move it. Don't move this plant around. It doesn't like to be moved around. They advise that you dust it off, but with this plant, I pretty much water it once a week and leave it alone. This is my Hindu rope plant. Believe it or not, I bought this plant at Lowe's for not very much. I was just really captivated by the way the leaves curl up, the way that I'm showing you right now. It likes to dry out completely before I have to water it again. So probably I water this plant once a month. And then I just leave it alone. It hasn't grown much. It's a very slow grower. I think it was last year Mother's Day that my husband gifted me with this plant right here. I was absolutely horrified because I was told that these plants are very difficult to grow. They have a really shallow root system, and I think this one came within cocoa coir or whatever. So I use that little cup to water it once a week. These are the original MVPs. This is the first plant I ever tried to grow. It's an aloe plant. It used to be one big, huge, massive plant, and then it made all of these babies, and I repotted it into these two big pots. I've had so many problems with this plant from trying to overwater it and trying to bother it too much. I should have probably planted it in a smaller pot, but it just likes to go completely dry. And then when I see that the leaves are kind of getting flat, that's when I know that I need to water it. Check out how long, how long these vines have gotten, okay? I think the one on the right is a Pothos Enjoy. It used to have that variegation. If you look at the long trail all the way over to the right, you see some white in the leaves. I'm showing it to you right now. Unfortunately, the leaves are turning green now, and I think I'm going to lose the variegation. I'm told that that happens because those plants need a lot of light. The more variegation, the more light that it needs. And even though it's right in front of a window, I guess it's not enough light. But these plants, if you're really bad at plant care, pothos, and this is a neon pothos that I'm showing you right now. Pothos in general are really, really easy to take care of. You just let them dry out, give them indirect light. They like indirect light, even though they'll do okay in low light. Once a week, I take a wooden skewer stick, the kind you make shish kebabs with. I stick it in the soil. When I put all the way down to the bottom of the pot, if I pull it out and I see any dirt sticking to it, that means there's still moisture in the soil, and I leave it alone until it comes out dry, and then I water it. This is my spider plant. If you look, you'll see the tips are kind of brown. That's because the spider plant likes to be watered with distilled water or rainwater. And back in the day when I first bought this plant, I used to actually collect rainwater in my backyard to water it, but I've just gotten so busy, I don't have time to do that anymore. So I've been watering it with regular water and it's okay, but it would probably look perfect if I did the rainwater. And it's really pot bound right now, so this is one of the plants I'm going to be repotting this spring. But I can't wait for it to have little babies and look like a chandelier. Right beneath it is one of my many snake plants, okay? If you're the kind of person that kills plants, get you a snake plant and don't water it. They like to just be neglected and left alone. Maybe water it once a month. This right here is a peperomia. It's one of those plants that holds a lot of water in its leaves. And this is another plant that I like to stick the wooden skewer in to see whether or not there's any moisture. And I wait until it's mostly dry before I water it. Do you guys see a common thread here? I change my black thumb to a green thumb by getting a bunch of plants that like to be dry before they get watered, and then I make myself only water it once a week. And success, y'all. Success. I think some people call this a corn plant because it looks like a corn stalk. When I bought it, it came with this head and another head that you'll see, but I ended up separating the two of them. I love this plant, you guys. It makes my front room look like a tropical paradise, which is what I love about having plants, especially in the winter when everything goes really brown. So here's the baby on the other side. When you buy this plant in the store, they'll usually sell them in one pot side by side, but I really like the way it looks when it's separated like this. To me, it looks like two little palm trees. And I put rocks along the top to like make sure that gnats don't accumulate. So you guys, I'm really not much of a succulent person. I think they're cute, but I don't have a lot of succulents. These are the few that I have, and I've had them for years, you guys. I almost hardly ever water these, like maybe once a month, and then when I water it, I just put very little, like I don't know, like a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of water in there, and they just keep going, you guys. I just repotted this one. It came in a super tiny pot when I bought it. This one I don't have as much luck with. I mean, I've had it for a long time, and look at how small it is, and it's getting kind of leggy. But again, I just do my best not to bother my plants too much because the temptation is to just give it water. It doesn't look too good. Must be time to give it water. But that's the number one way to kill your plants. This one was gifted to me at Christmas from one of my students. I thought that was an awesome Christmas present. This right here is called a ponytail palm. I hardly water this thing at all. It stores all of its water in the funky base that you see coming out of the pot. I squeeze it, and when it gives a little bit, that's when I know it's time for me to water it. It usually stays rock hard, so it stores a lot of water. You can kill it by overwatering it. This one is another kind of snake plant. It's a cylindrical snake plant, and same kind of care. Let it go all the way dry, then water it because it stores a lot of water in the thick leaves. This one right here is some kind of arrowhead. It's like a pink variegated. I can't remember the rest of the name of this plant, you guys. Comment down below if you know what the name of this plant is. It's a vining plant. And so I wrapped it around 2 metal spikes and made this beautiful form that you're looking at. One of my favorite plants to look at. Right next to it is a anthurium. It's a red anthurium. I really wanted the white one, but I couldn't find it. But I'm glad that I settled on this red one because it gives a nice bright color. Very easy to care for. It doesn't like to go completely dry, but I water it about once a week. Peace lily right next to it. Somebody at my job was giving away peace lilies for free, and I kept coming back to the table and nobody was buying them, and so I kept buying them. So you'll see multiple peace lilies in this video. It all came from that free gifting. That's a pothos all the way back in the corner. Instead of allowing the leaves to trail down, I wrapped it around a stake. So I'm going to show you its twin that I also did the same thing to. It looks like a Christmas tree, you guys. So I'm sure you guys are really familiar with this plant. Back in the day, it was all the rage to have this plant. And I don't know why. Monstera. I thought my mind was blanking on the name of this plant. I got this plant when the leaves looked like heart-shaped leaves, before there was any kind of holes in the leaves. That happens as the plant matures. This thing has just grown and grown and grown. It's so beautiful. It's so shiny. I need some time to just polish all the leaves of my plants. I mean, if I did that for this plant, it would just be breathtaking. It's super duper healthy. You know, I've had to transplant it twice to a bigger pot, and it just loves this room. And I'm getting a lot of holes now. I think they also call this a Swiss cheese plant. Love this plant. It's my pride and joy. My only concern is in the corner where my kids play the piano all the time, and so I'm always worried about this plant, but it's holding up. Right above it is a green leaf philodendron. I really like the fact that I paired these two together because it kind of looks like a baby monstera before it gets the holes. And I love the way the leaves kind of vine and trail down and kind of intermingle with the monstera. And at this point, the vine is almost making it all the way down to the floor. That's the money tree, you guys. When I first got it, there were multiple branches. The other branches died off and nothing is coming off. But this one branch has given all of these leaves and it's kind of pitched over. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that one. Here's another snake plant. I love my snake plants. Out of all the plants that I have, I probably love my snake plants the most for ease. That's a croton back there. Last year, it got attacked by spider mites and completely decimated so badly that I put it on the deck for the summer thinking I was just going to enjoy it for the rest of the summer until it just bit the dust. But it came back, you guys. I treated it with neem oil and it came back. So at the end of the summer, I brought it back into the house. It weathered through the winter. I haven't seen another spider mite since, and I'm so glad because this is one of the original plants that I bought when I started trying to grow plants again. My mom was always really good at growing plants, and I really miss having plants in the house. Here's another snake plant, and its twin is on the other side of the chair, and in between is some kind of aloe plant, which is really, this plant is really strange to me. It has a really shallow root system, and unlike my other aloe plant, this one needs to be watered once a week. It gets super bone dry and it asks for water. The leaves get all dry and crinkly, so I have to water it once a week, and I keep it in a terracotta pot. That's another tip. If you have a plant that likes to stay moist, you might want to use a plastic pot. But for me, since overwatering is an issue for me, I like to use a terracotta pot because it never holds the moisture too long. What's the name of this plant? I want to say it's a Hoya. It's a variegated Hoya. And next to it is a pothos and another snake plant beneath it, another two snake plants, and another Hindu rope plant. I get a little, I guess it's a little boring to show you guys repeated pothos. Like, do you guys see a trend here? Your girl has a lot of pothos, but here's a better shot of that pothos that I trained up a spike. That's the twin I was telling you guys about. This shot doesn't really show you guys the scale. I mean, it's a super big plant. I have really high cathedral ceilings in this room. I don't know, maybe it's like 3 feet tall. It's a massive plant. It was really hard for me to get it up there. But it's doing super well. You know, it gets lots of bright light. And I water this once a week, but I also still fill the soil to make sure that there is no moisture because this plant kind of likes to go dry. I get cuttings. I just cut back the vines. They were almost dragging to the floor. And I keep cuttings on this shelf. This is another succulent that grew a weird leg. And I love the string of pearls. And this is the most I've been able to do with the situation that I have in my house. What's the name of this plant? Is it some kind of philodendron? That's the other peace lily. And this is a Janet Craig, probably one of the first plants I ever bought. It hasn't grown at all, you guys, but it's still alive. This is my plant hospital right here. This is a Queen Marble Pothos, trying to get better. This is in my sitting room. It's another peperomia. I don't know. Maybe it's not getting enough light. It's not dying, but the leaves look kind of thin. It's either not getting enough water or it's not getting enough light. And so I'm trying to do better with this plant right here, but I love the pink variegation along the edges. This is my prayer plant, you guys. This is in my bathroom, which is not in the best shape, so I'm not going to show you guys my bathroom, but this plant is massive. And I love the way the leaves fold over. It needs a lot of moisture and water. That's it, you guys. I'm finishing up with my ZZ plant, which I only water once a month. Love this plant. I mean, I hope this answered your question about the plants that you see in the background. I think I'm pretty average and I choose pretty easy care plants. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Be blessed.